Welcome to the Dr. Mudgil podcast. This is episode 108. We are in the middle of December here. Winter is almost upon us, another week or so, but it is getting very, very, very dark, very, very, very early. The sun is setting in the fours, which is a little bit depressing. I'm waking up, it's dark out. Coming home from work, it's dark out. But once we hit December 21st, hit winter, then the days will slowly start getting longer. I'm looking forward to that. It has been an eventful week, to say the least. This is going to be kind of like a Mudgil mindset type of podcast. I had a very eventful weekend, which I'm going to share with you. And there are a few reminders that that I personally was reminded of, but just a few affirmations as well. So I want to share a little story with you guys, and I'm going to share with you what this reaffirmed to me, and things that I learned. But hopefully you'll find this valuable and helpful as well. So, as you know, I'm a dermatologist, and a big scope of what I do in my clinical practice are cosmetic procedures. And, with anything that you ever do in the body, no matter how much you try to, as careful as you are and all the precautions you may take, the human body will always surprise you. And, this last Friday, I was doing a fairly routine cosmetic procedure. A patient flew in from out of town, a little wedding prep, and, did a procedure. Procedure generally has a risk of an adverse event happening. Literally, it's 1 in 100,000 times something bad can happen. The way we do the procedure, the way I do the procedure, I try to mitigate risk as much as humanly possible. And the strategies that we use and the way we actually perform the procedure, it actually reduces the risk of an adverse event to about 1 in 400,000. So, very, very, very rare that something happens. In fact, in my career, I've actually never seen anything like this, but crazy things will happen. So, I did, like I said, a fairly routine cosmetic procedure on Friday. And around 7 o'clock that night, so this was Friday morning, around 7 o'clock that night, I got an email from my patient and saying, hey, doc, sorry to bother you. I know it's Friday night, but I just want to let you know that I'm experiencing this phenomenon. And I was at my son's basketball game. I saw the email. I said, okay. I responded immediately. I said, here's my cell phone. Text me some pictures, and then I'll take a look and we'll take it from there. So she texted me some pictures, and, things didn't look quite right. There's some very subtle findings on the pictures that had me concerned. And I said, hey, listen, I got to see you tonight. So I met her at my Long Island office about 10 p.m. that night to, start to evaluate her in person, obviously, and then, start any intervention that may be required. And, I saw her stabilize the situation, and I said, listen, I need to see you tomorrow in my New York City office. So I met her in my New York City office on Saturday afternoon, spent the whole afternoon with her doing whatever needed to be done to try to mitigate any potential adverse outcome. I was in close contact with her throughout the weekend. She lives out of town, but actually she stayed an extra day, and I saw her Monday morning in my office. Everything looked good. And I've been obviously in constant contact with her since then. And everything is great. Everything worked out well. We intervened early, and, we averted potential disaster. But a few takeaways that I got from this, and these are reminders from things that actually happened in my own life and things that I hope you find relevant. And the first one is, it's important to engage excellence, in anything that you're doing. So whether it be a doctor you're trying to see, a procedure you want done, you want to try to engage the most excellent provider that you can find. And I'll give you, this happens, a contractor, someone that's working on your house. You want to find the best contractor, the most trustworthy, reliable contractor, whatever, mechanic, auto mechanic, whatever it may be. You always want to try to engage excellence. And the reason why that's important, and this was actually, it sort of reaffirmed the way I practice, is, folks who are excellent at something, they roll with other folks that are excellent at something. So, the best basketball players hang out with the best basketball players. The best athletes in other sports hang out with, the best athletes in other sports or cross sports, The best bankers hang out with the best bankers. The best entrepreneurs hang out with the best entrepreneurs. The best lawyers hang out with the best lawyers. The best accountants hang out with the best accountants. And you better believe the best doctors hang out with the best doctors. And the reason why these doctors are the best, it's not for the 999,000 times that things go well. It's for that one in 400,000 times where something, goes wrong, and you want to be certain that your doctor can identify an issue when it's a subtle issue before it becomes a dramatic one that can hurt you. And you also, like I said, the best doctors hang out with the best doctors. Of course, when this happened, I had a plan in place. This is what I want to do. I see this, I'm trying to avert this potential issue from getting worse. And of course, I reached out to a couple of colleagues that I trusted, said, hey, this is what's going on. This is what I'm planning on doing. Do you agree? Would you, yes, I agree with what your plan is, or maybe I would add this or take away this, or, try this. And, I read an article that said maybe this might work. And, what I did was I basically got a collective of the brightest minds that I know, ran my plan by them just to make sure that I wasn't missing anything, just running it by other experts. I put a plan in place and I jumped into action. My fear with things, especially like cosmetic medicine, there's lots of folks who take a weekend class and start dabbling in this sort of thing. There's like traveling, injecting nurses that do this sort of stuff. There's like family docs that take a weekend class and start, dabbling with these sorts of procedures. And, most of the time things are going to go fine. Most of the time things go well, but you want to make sure that your doctor, the person that you're trusting to do this procedure, one is obviously that they should be good at what they do and, have an artistic eye and be able to deliver the cosmetic result that you're looking for. But more importantly, you want to make sure that they will identify that 1 in 100,000 times or 1 in 400,000 times that, something might go wrong, because just the human body will always surprise you. And no matter how careful you are and no matter how much you do to mitigate any risk, things will happen. When that happens, you want to make sure you're under the care in the hands of somebody that knows how to, one, identify the issue, and then two, implement the measures that are going to get you through the storm and get you to the other end of it unscathed. So engaging excellence is key. And again, I talk about auditing your circle, but like surrounding yourself with excellence is also key. I'm glad that I have in my cell phone folks on speed dial that I can reach out to if I ever have a question. And likewise, they have me on speed dial if they ever have a question. Although we all exist on our own islands, we communicate with each other and are, very collegial and try to help each other in any way that we can. And, part of engaging excellence, listen, when you engage excellence, it's not always cheap. Sometimes you're paying a little bit of a premium, but part of that premium is accessibility. When you're, working with the best, those folks are generally accessible to their, in my case, patients. And, if you're whatever, a lawyer or something, your clients, whatever the case may be. And, like I said, my patient sent me an email at 7:00 at night on a Friday night. I took a look, said, hey, text me some pictures, saw them. I said, listen, I'm going to see you tonight. Met her at 10 o'clock that night, then met her again at, the following afternoon, spent the entire afternoon with her on Saturday. But, we had to do what we needed to do, like I said, to kind of get her through this storm. And like I said, being accessible is key. It's what I pride myself on. My patients know how to find me if they need me, and they know that I'm quick to jump into action if the need arises. I like to use this example a lot. The landscaping company that I use that does, basically the landscaping for my offices, my home, et cetera. It also does like my snow removal and that sort of stuff in the winter months. They're certainly not the cheapest outfit in town. Rocco, I'm calling you out here. They're probably the most expensive, or if not, one of the top few more expensive companies in the area. And the truth is, I could hire like 99.9% of landscaping companies, and my lawn would look just as pristine as it does. My flowers would be blooming just as beautifully. 99.9% of folks could do just as good a job as Rocco does. But what Rocco has is accessibility. And I'm going to share the story with you guys. A couple of years ago, there was like a big tropical storm that came through here, and I was seeing patients. It was on a Tuesday afternoon, and it was pouring. It was windy. The power went out, and a big tree landed right in my driveway. So there's no power. I had patients in my office, and there was a tree that was blocking the exit to my office. So my patients were basically trapped in my office. And like I said, there was no power. We're just like sitting in the dark. So I text Rocco and said, hey, Rocco, I got this situation and I need your help. And, I'm sure he probably got 20 calls, things were happening all over the place. Trees were getting down all over the place where we are. Within 5 minutes, he was at my office and he was helping, with his chainsaws, him and his cousin with their chainsaws chopping down the tree. I was helping him carry the logs away so my patients could get out. And that's what you pay for. So yeah, 99.9% of landscapers could cut my grass and, plant my flowers and do what Rocco does. But he's in the 0.01% of excellence, engage excellence, because I know I have accessibility if I need him. That's when you really need someone. When something goes wrong, is when you want to be able to trust that you're going to send that text out and someone's going to be at your side there to help you. That's what I pay Rocco for, because I know he's got my back. He's going to be there to help me. That's what my patients know about me. If something goes wrong, they know they can find me. I'm going to be there to help them. I'm going to do everything I can to get them through to the other side, with, as unscathed as humanly possible. And the third lesson here is, when there's a problem or when there's an issue that you suspect, you can't delay pouncing on it. You have to jump into action. This goes for any problem in life. But in this particular situation, like I said, my patient sent me that email, sent me the pictures, and, listen, I could have said, hey, everything looks all right. Let's touch base in the morning and we'll take things from there. But it just, obviously I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if that were the case. And, I think that early intervention that I made on Friday night made a huge difference and really set the foundation for her to have a complete recovery and do very, very well despite this crazy adverse, rare adverse event. One of my buddies actually summed it up really well. It's like, this stuff happens, like when you do the type of stuff that we do, it happens no matter how careful you are, no matter, how attentive you are to detail, et cetera. It's kind of like being at a busy intersection. You're at a red light. The light turns green. You wait 2 seconds before you start moving because you don't want anyone to try to be running the red light going the other way and T-bone you. But despite doing everything right, you wait for the light to turn green. You wait a couple of seconds before you start putting your foot on the accelerator and moving through the intersection. And you do all those things and someone still T-bones you. Sometimes there's nothing that you can do. Things are out of your control, particularly the human body is so unpredictable that, things can happen. But the key is, and this is why you engage excellence, you want to make sure your provider is one, someone that can identify a potential issue, and then two, move, get the ball rolling and get you treatment so that you can recover as quickly as possible. When a firefighter shows up at a fire, he or she's not waiting for things to calm down before they're jumping in the fire trying to save lives. They jump right into the fire. It's analogous to what we all should do when we're presented with any sort of problem. So I share this with you because it's been on the forefront of my mind all week. I'm very grateful that things worked out okay and that I was able to do everything possible to help my patient. And, fortunately, she's going to have an excellent outcome at the end of it all, which is obviously, that's the goal. The first rule of medicine is to do no harm. And I'm glad we were able to navigate this storm and navigate it well. So with that, I hope you all have a wonderful, restful weekend, just enjoying December as it comes to a close and just ready to crush these last couple of weeks of the year. Let's get it.